Hi everybody. Today I'll be doing a book review of Alexander Hamilton's Guide to Life, which is by Jeff Wilser. And this book is a non-fiction book. Of that I am certain. Beyond that, what to categorize it as is a little bit of a gray area. It's part history, part biography, part self-help, and it's kind of all three of those rolled into one interesting and very entertaining book. So Jeff Wilser uses the essentially the biography, not like a super detailed academic biography, but sort of a narrative biography, almost a primer to a biography of Alexander Hamilton, and then he uses that as a blueprint for using it to make a self-help book. And to use Alexander Hamilton's life and his beliefs and his integrity and whatnot as a starting point for the reader to reflect on how they should live their lives to emulate Alexander Hamilton. And I should say, for those who don't know, that Alexander Hamilton is obviously one of the founding fathers of the United States of America, and I believe framers of the Constitution. And along the way, you also learn a lot about history and the history of the American Revolution, and a lot of stuff that I didn't know about the American Revolution and the founding of the country. And this book is also timed up. It was published, I believe, in 2016, which is right around the time that Hamilton play came out, very famous Broadway performance. And Jeff Wilser sort of capitalizes on that popularity with this book. But he likes that play, I think he mentions, but that play sort of bends history a little bit to be more entertaining. So I learned from this book some ways in which that play was inaccurate, which was interesting. So as someone who likes American history, specifically the founding of the country, who likes learning about the founding fathers, who likes philosophy and somewhat self-help type books, I really enjoyed this book, Alexander Hamilton's Guide to Life. I thought that it was by Alexander Hamilton at first, but turns out, after looking at it online for more than 10 seconds, I realized that it was by another man writing, as I said, about Alexander Hamilton's life, and then using a self-help setup from there, which it's not what I would have preferred. But Jeff Wilser does an amazing job, and I highly recommend, as I always say, of any good book, Alexander Hamilton's Guide to Life by Jeff Wilser. And I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5 rating. And I give it that because, as I said, it was a really good book, really good history, really entertaining. But at the same time, it was kind of just a easy, not that being easy is a bad thing, but it was kind of just a book that I flipped through during a weekend and finished it pretty quick. And not that being a long book is a good thing either, but it just wasn't. It's not something that I'm gonna really remember too much a couple months from now, anything like that. It doesn't have a major impact on my life, although a lot of the self-help tips are interesting. But the last thing I want to say, though, besides my endorsement and rating of Alexander Hamilton's Guide to Life, is that I really want to give credit to Mr. Wilser for this format. I'm not sure if there's other books out there like it, I'm sure there is, but I really like the whole idea of using a biography as self-help. And as Mr. Wilser sort of alludes to, before what we might call modern history and archaeology and anthropology, history was really about stories, and it was things like Plutarch and what's the other guy's name there? It starts with an H. But history was about sort of the great men of history, or women, sparingly, unfortunately. But not that there weren't great women. I just mean there weren't recorded much about them at those times. But anyways, so I really like sort of how he's going back to sort of the roots of history and using it as self-help, Because even though I think history has definitely progressed for the better by sort of pushing that narrative interpretation of history aside for a more factual and objective look, I think that with history doing that in recent centuries, we did kind of lose something that was important, both culturally and educationally. So I think that this book sort of is an example to lead us forward with maybe still using that aspect of history in a positive way. So I would very much like to see, either by Mr. Wilser or by other authors, this style of book with other famous men and women of history. So this is Chris Beaudry. Thank you for watching.